Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the now streaming show on ACNNTV, where we challenge perspective and break stereotype. It is a general belief that the law does not aid the indolent. When a court judgment is given, action is expected to be carried out, either in favor or against the concerned party. Could this be said to be the case with our legislative arm? What perspective of the court interpretation will be considered correct? And how long would Nigeria grapple with the issue of judicial interpretation of judgment, even when it seems so explicit, I must add, in some cases? This answer we shall be seeking this morning, alongside some other answers to some developing and trending stories for you this morning. I am your Uncle Godwin Ujiri, and with me in the studio to help give very insightful analysis to all of the issues we have is a dogged comrade, and in person of Comrade Peter Piper, who happens to be a human rights activist. Comrade, you are welcome to non-streaming.
Thank you very much for having me. It's good to be here again.
All right, thank you so much and welcome on board. Our viewers, remember you can be part of the show by calling in the number showing on your screen, and also by sending your comment via various social media platform. But first, like it is our culture, we will take a look at some select newspapers headline that came in this morning. And with me to kickstart that is the Punch newspaper this morning. And the Punch is leading with a whole lot of trending stories, I would say, and amongst them is APC may pick Ganduje's successors at make or break neck meeting, and this can be seen on pages 2 of the Punch newspaper. And we have the rider there that says Almakura Yelwada Dalori top raise lobbying tickets, I beg your pardon, North Central demand slot, constitution review on neck agenda. All of these are APC issues there, and all the bickering happening within the party. And then on the international scene, we are having Israeli protests in Tel Aviv over Gaza food shortage, and we have very interesting placard capturing there, one of which say we are all responsible. It's been done in our name. And also we have other interesting caption that also says starvation is a war crime. Indeed, so much happening in the international scene, especially with the Israeli-Palestine or Israeli-Hamas or Israeli-Iran conflict, if we may put it in that perspective. And also just below the picture, trending stories there we have on page 7, Article 1 warns us of... beg your pardon, that name is indeed a big one for me this morning. Article 1 as Opebolo, I think that happens to be the governor of Edo State, Opebolo. Wike insists on Obi's visit clearance. And also on pages 3 we have Natasha held to court after Senate blockade. Also, this can be seen on pages 3, and then on page 7 we have ADC boils over Tinubu's endorsement by Adeleke Onyilola, and this can be seen also on pages 7 of the Punch newspaper. And just above the Punch masthead, lastly we have Senate okays Tinubu $21 billion foreign loan. This can be seen on pages 2 of the Punch newspaper. All right, viewers, we will be looking at the Vanguard newspaper very quickly. And the Vanguard is leading indeed with so many trending stories also. And top of the agenda there says, resumption bid drama at Senate as Natasha security agents clash. This can be seen on pages 5 of the Vanguard newspaper, and it has a whole lot of trending riders there. It says, senators walk to NAS. Senator walks to NAS premises on foot after stoppage of her convoy. Also, we have blocked from accessing main building. We will approach appeal court to seek interpretation to legal impasses. This is coming from Akpoti Oduaga there. Also, we have activist Aisha Yusufu battles police overrule in stopping senator. And lastly, there we acted on orders from above. This is coming from the security agents on the impasse that transpired, I think, yesterday at the premises of the hallowed chamber of the Senate. And then when you look at that front page, you would see pictures there having Senator Akpoti Oduaga being backed by activists such as Aisha Yusufu and other of her supporters there taking a walk through to the Senate premises or chamber, you would have it. But that movement was short-lived by the security operative there. And also you have them also a picture by the left hand side, them blocking the vehicle that Akpoti Oduaga came in from accessing the complex of the National Assembly. And then moving on to other stories, we have reconsider planned trips to Nigeria, US tells citizens. And we have a kicker there that says warns of kidnapping, terrorism, poor health care, and others. This can be seen on pages 8. And then we have also on page 8, Senate approves 2025 to 2026 external borrowing plan of 21.5 billion. I've actually taken that story on the Punch newspaper. And then I must say a very big congratulations to the Super Falcons of Nigeria for making Nigeria proud and booking themselves a place in the final of the ongoing competition that is presently happening in Morocco there. They are doing us proud, and we believe and trust that they would also do well to clinch the cup and bring it back home. Congratulations to everyone there who have put in effort to see that this victory comes home for us as Nigeria. And we have it there on the Sport Extra, page 32, Nigeria Mission X, Nigeria dethrone South Africa. All right, viewers, that is much we would be looking on the front pages of our national dailies this morning. Like we would always say, go get yourself a copy of all of those newspapers and follow through with the trending stories to get all of the insightful analysis there for your consumption. And very quickly, we will be diving into the conversation for this morning. And like I earlier introduced, we still have with us in the studio Comrade Peter Piper, who happens to be a human rights activist. I must say he's an astute activist and an analyst of Recon. And please just sit tuned and listen to our conversation this morning. I believe you won't regret. But please, we want to urge you to remember that you could be part of the conversation by calling in the number showing on your screen, and also by sending your comment via our various social media platform on this morning. All right, comrade, we will dive into the segment where we discuss all of the interesting issues we have this morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much.
So we would be starting with the impasse that actually happened yesterday at the National Assembly complex. This, we would say, in a democratic setting, should be the, for lack of word, I would want to say, the complex of the people, or the people's parliament, where everyone ought to be represented. And yet we have this impasse that have been, I don't want to say between the Senate and Senator Natasha, but I want to use the word now to say between the Senate President and Senator Natasha Akpoti. All right, comrade, I would want you to, before we take a view of the video that transpired, what is your overall assessment of all that has transpired so far?
I think it is a shame. It is a shame to Nigeria, a shame to our collective democracy, a shame to the Senate, a shame to manhood, and a disgrace to womanhood. Now, this is a situation where a woman is complaining about sexual molestation, and then you are turning that person into a victim. We haven't heard of a transparent, hearing or a commission where that was set up to find out if her allegations are true or false. And what we are talking about is her right to remain in the Senate just because she laid an allegation which could possibly be true if perhaps given the chance, to investigate. So this is why I say it is a shame that we are even discussing this issue. In a civilized society, the Senate president will step aside or resign, and then there can be an impartial investigation into this. But instead, what we're seeing is the victimization of the female child, the victimization of the woman. And then all this is happening because we live in a male-dominated society. We live in a society where everything is against the female child. Even in some customs, they will tell you a woman can't be given an inheritance from her father or from her husband. So we are wondering how long it will take before our society gives women the rights that they deserve. So what I perceive here is injustice. Natasha was elected by a constituency in Kogi State, and she was elected to represent people in the Senate. So she shouldn't have been suspended in the first place. So if there ought to have been a suspension, then perhaps both the Senate president and Natasha should have both been suspended while an investigation is put in place. But you know the type of world you live in and the country you live in. So that's my take on that.
All right. Thank you so much, comrade. Our viewers, you have heard it from him. It is a society where we want to say patriarchal sentiment is on the increase, and it's a pity that this is being showed or showcased in a chamber that ought to be hallowed, given the kind of principle that we hold on to as a nation. And the comrade also say injustice is so pervasive in the case between Senator Natasha Oduaga and that of the Senate president. But before we go further with further questions and issues, we would want to take a breather here while you take a view of the video that transpired in the course of yesterday between the security agency, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaga, and all of it, all of those issues that we have for you this morning. So please, let's take a view of that.
2025, having duly notified the Senate through 2 letters that I will be resuming functions today. As a matter of fact, I'm disappointed on 2 grounds. One is the number of armed policemen that we met outside, all well kitted with guns, charged at a female senator who is unarmed with her people here, patriotic Nigerians. And the second thing is the fact that the Senate, under the leadership of Godswill Akpabio, have decided to become lawbreakers and by denying me entrance into the chambers to resume my duty. There's been some conversations in the media by his own team trying to twist the narrative that the judge did not order my reinstatement, and I'd like to clarify that. You see, pursuant to Section 318 of the 1999 Constitution, it is very clear that decisions of a court comes in 5 ways. It could be a judicial decree, it could be a sentence, it could be an order, it could be a conviction, and it could be a recommendation. So an order is just one of the 5 decisions that a judge can pronounce over any case, and mine tilt towards a recommendation. Now you would think that a recommendation is a voluntary, that means the Senate has either they comply or they have the right not to comply, but I'd like to clarify that. If you go further to the to section 287 subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution again, it actually specifies in clear terms that decisions, that's any of these 5 decisions of any of the Nigerian courts, are binding and enforceable on every Nigerian and every authority. So what that means in simple terms, whether they mention that the Justice Binta Nyako or the Federal High Court made an order or made a sentence or made a judicial decree or a recommendation, whatever, however they want to interpret the literal words, interpretation of the words, it is still a decision of a court and it is still binding on the National Assembly. The second issue that I have seen withering around the media is that the Senate appealed the judgment. And I mentioned it, I'm saying it clearly. Hamza, can you please give me, where's Hamza? Let me have that page, please. Let me have the appeal. Let me show them the appeal. Now, this is the appeal that was initiated last week against Justice Binta Nyako's judgment. It is clear that it is not the National Assembly, neither it is the Senate that appealed the judgment. It's Akpabio himself. Read it. The President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Godswill Akpabio, he is the only appellant. The National Assembly has not appealed that judgment. The Senate has not appealed the judgment. The Committee on Ethics has not, that suspended me wrongly, has not appealed the judgment. As a matter of fact, Senator Akpabio joined the clerk of the National Assembly, the entire Senate, and the chairman Committee on Ethics as joint respondents to the case. That means Akpabio has taken the National Assembly and the Senate and the clerk and the committee to court as well. Do you understand? That must be clarified. So there is no reason whatsoever, contrary to the publications I read yesterday, that I should not resume today because the Senate has appealed my suspension judgment. And that's wrong. The Senate did not. So what I appealed is the content, and that is separate. The judgment came in 2 parts. One was to address the contempt, which is based on the satirical letter which I made, or the satirical apology letter which I made on Facebook, which the judge thought it wise in her own stride that amounts to contempt. But I'm saying clearly that does not amount to contempt of her court, because before Justice Binta Nyako was not the matter of sexual harassment, but the matter of suspension. And what I would say clearly, what I would say clearly here is me appealing the contempt does not in any way invalidate the decision of the court that mentions me resuming. And I'll say this again. In as much as the judgment, Justice Binta Nyako's judgment, was the most watery of all the suspension judgments we've had, taking into consideration Senator Ali Ndume's and Senator Magege's suspension. But there is one particular portion of her decision which I want us to hinge upon, where she mentioned that my suspension is actually excessive, and that being suspended for 6 months actually will prevent my ability to carry out my constitutional functions as stipulated in Section 63 of the 1990 Constitution. Now, what does Section 63 of the 1999 Constitution mean? That every senator in this and every parliamentarian is to attend a sitting not less than 181 days per year. to carry out my constituted functions. And what are the constitutional functions of a senator? One, legislative, which I'll do in there. Second is oversight of the executive. And third is representative of my people. So that means what Justice Binta Nyako told the National Assembly is that not only is my judgment excessive, but it will also deprive me of carrying out my constituted duties of which I was elected according to the Nigerian Constitution. That is Section 63. So that means my suspension is illegal. If you look at that, because anything that contravenes the Nigerian Constitution is illegal, and the National Assembly cannot be greater than the Constitution. They are now coming down again based on the appeal. Akpabio himself cannot be greater than the courts, cannot be greater than the Constitution. And I want Nigerians to know that the office of the Senate President, Akpabio himself, does not give me my legitimacy as a senator.
All right, viewers, there you have it. It's actually a short clip of all that transpired yesterday at the premises of the Senate chamber. A whole lot was coming from no other person but the Senator Natasha Oduaga, and we have a whole lot of issues that have been raised as a result of that interview she granted to the press yesterday. And still with us is Comrade Peter Piper, who would be giving his own insight of what you just watched just a few seconds ago. Comrade, now coming to you, because a whole lot is going through in my head and in my mind, and I must ask. The Senate President is saying that what the court issue is an advisory and not an order. And now I want to now ask, he also said that there is no order to reinstate back this Senator Natasha Oduaga. Now I want to ask, which perspective in this issue is correct, given what we just heard Natasha said? And thirdly, I still want to know, is the judgment not explicit enough for even the blind to see in this case?
All right, let me just go straight to the point here. Every kindergarten child can tell who is the victim in this situation. Let's break it down to common sense. Don't overanalyze this. Don't try to complicate it beyond what it is. A woman is accusing a man of inappropriate sexual conduct. That is the allegation. And now the woman who is accusing this man of not behaving very well is being suspended for 6 months by this same man heading the place. And now the woman goes to court and says, please, judge, this is what happened. And then judge says, well, I think the treatment given to this woman was excessive, and I think the woman should go back and resume her job. And the woman goes back to resume her job, and the security man says, no, you can't resume your job. That the judgment is inconclusive. Nigerians, do you need anyone to tell you that you are degenerating? Nigerians, do you need someone to point it into your faces that your country is becoming a scam? Do you need anyone to tell you that the caliber of people who represent us is questionable? Do you need anyone to tell you that these governments, that our rulers, let me go straight to the point. In civilized societies, the rulers are afraid of the people. They are scared of what the people can do if they come together. But in the Nigerian society, the people are afraid of the rulers. The people are afraid of what the rulers will do to them if they rise up and fight for themselves against the rulers. This is a generation of Nigerians that is hard to explain. For you to even look at me and give me the nickname comrade, comrade, comrade. Who the hell is not a comrade? You came into this world to raid the place. My friend, you raided your mother's womb for 9 months before you came here to raid this planet. So we are all comrades. So I am saying that the reason the rulers can do this to you Nigerians is because they are not afraid of you. And when the rulers are not afraid of the people, then it means they can do anything with no consequence. These people in the National Assembly, who are they? Who are these people? You keep referring to them as distinguished senator, distinguished this. You created the problem. You calling them distinguished. You who is calling them honorable this, honorable that, you are the problem. You are calling them honorable. You, the citizen, that whenever you see your politicians, the very ones you voted into power, you say, Your Excellency, with the same mouth with which you go to church and you say, the most excellency is Jesus. The problem is the people themselves. Until the citizens recognize how much power they have, until the citizens can wake up and look into the faces of the power, look into the faces of their rulers and tell them, hey, enough is enough. We are not going to take this. Then and only then will the rulers respect the citizens. Until then, they will keep playing with you guys.
All right, comrade, I think our viewers are all hearing this loud and clear. Viewers, we want to encourage you once more to call in or send in your comment via various social media platforms and be part of this conversation. Lastly on this, comrade, like you said, even a kindergarten kid would understand explicitly who the victim in this case happens to be. And I also want to add my voice in this case to say an A-level government student in any secondary school would also understand the premise of separation of power. So where does this leave us as a nation as touching the executive, the legislative arm, and also the judicial arm of government in this case?
Let me go straight to the point. When you talk about separation of powers, the executives, the judiciary, and the legislature being separate, this happens in a democracy.
Are you saying we don't have a democracy?
You don't have a democracy, my brother.
What then are we operating?
What you are operating in Nigeria is civil rule. You are being ruled by civilians. This is not a democracy. Let me explain what a democracy is and what it should be. A democracy is a government of the people, which means it must be a government that is of the people, which means the people themselves, which means election must be free and fair.
All right, comrade, I think we have a caller.
A caller,
Yeah,
all right.
what this man is saying is 100% right, okay? We the citizens that the government is supposed to be afraid. Now we are the one being afraid of the government. So for this reason, they are using power against Nigerians, against the citizens. Okay, what this man is saying is true. We will see the right thing. Everybody knows that this thing is white. But people will be running away from the truth. That's the problem we have in this country.
All right, comrade, you let me allow
Yes,
you.
yeah. I was saying it's the government of the people.
Okay.
Now, which means it must come from them. That's why it is of them. Then it must be a government for the people, which means it must be doing something for the people, which means it must be carrying out a people's agenda. of the people, for the people, then it must be by the people themselves. This is the indices that qualifies a democracy. So what you have in Nigeria is a civil rule. It's a government of civilians, for civilians, by civilians, and these particular set of civilians happen to be civilians that are so civilized that they have perfected the technology of how to dominate the rest of the civilian population. They have criminalized protests. They have criminalized even the speaking of truth. To speak truth in Nigeria today has been criminalized, which means you that is speaking truth, you are a criminal. So these people are civilians doing this. So it is a civil rule that you have, not a democracy. Before you begin to talk about a democracy, right, you must get your electoral institutions, right, which means the people themselves are the ones deciding who will rule them. You do not have a right in Nigeria to decide who will rule you, right from the local government to the states, to the presidency, to the National Assembly. So all of these people are in government, not for the governance of the people. They are in government for the fulfillment of their own selfish political interests, their own political ambitions. That's why somebody can come out and tell you Èmi ló kàn, which means it is my turn to be your president. It is my right to rule over you. That is why no matter what you do, they don't fear you. The crux of the issue here, I am blaming the Nigerian youths. A former president told you, the Nigerian youths, that Nigerian youths are lazy. There was no consequence to that. He ruled for 8 years. He ruled over the laziness of the present Nigerian citizens. So I am re-emphasizing it, that this problem will only come to an end when the people are no longer afraid of the government, and when the government becomes afraid of the people. But right now, there is no solution to the problem. They don't fear you. Freedom is not something that can be freely given. Freedom, no be akara. No be beans when they go say take. Go. Nigerian youth should go and read about people like Malcolm X, read about Martin Luther King, but Nigerian youths are so busy with Arsenal, Man U, Liverpool. They are so busy with trivial things. They are so busy with dancing on TikTok and the social media. They are preoccupied with the Big Brother shows. They are preoccupied with every trending things they want to do, and they are disinterested in governance. And as long as this apathy continues, the politicians will continue to do what they are doing, and they will always get away with it.
All right, Comrade, thank you so much. Indeed, I must confess, so much to take in on the non-streaming show this morning. But while we proceed, Comrade, I need us to look at the forthcoming. Okay, I think we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ennis.
Yes. Yeah, this is Ennis calling. I really want to address and also the network for this kind of conversation. I think one thing I understand is that I am not surprised with what is going on right now, the state of Natasha and the business leaders, because our leaders are so believing they know that they are teaching God. They believe that no matter what, the case of Nigerian issue is like keeping the problem on WhatsApp status after 24 hours is over. That is the same way Nigerian leaders are playing the situation. They feel they can do anything they want and just do it. Well, even the people, we are not serious. Let me just tell us the truth. Nigerians are not serious. We see issues as as critical as this, you see Nigerians fighting against themselves. We don't hold our leaders accountable because of maybe sentiment to the people in power. We only speak to justice when it is not on our side. But when it has to do with people that we feel we have this emotional attachment to each side. So that's why the leaders don't see us as a threat, like the guest has said. We are the key problem, not our leaders. I just pray we can all rise up to what is going on. Today it is Natasha. Tomorrow it can be any one of us. Nigerians we are merely surviving. Everybody will come. We are all wrestling. I pray God will help us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. NS, calling all the way from Abuja here in the Federal Capital Territory. All right, comrade, like I was asking, I think so many of the callers have alluded to what you have categorically stated in the studio this morning. But I just want to look at a possible change. We are looking towards 2027 general election, and the likes of the former Kaduna North chairman is leading a mass defection from APC over ideological drift. Now I want to ask, the political party structures and system currently being operated in Nigeria, are they driven by ideology?
Now let's begin. Ideology. What is an ideology? It sounds like a big word. Break it down. Separate the components. Idea. Logic. Any word you see with logic is only talking about the logic of something.
Okay.
Ideology. The logic of an idea. Now, a political party is just a vehicle that, just like if you want to travel right now, we're in Abuja. If you want to go to Lagos, you can choose to go by air. You book a flight, that's your vehicle. You want to go by road, that's your vehicle. You want to go by train or whatever, that's your vehicle. A political party is simply a vehicle. Now, a vehicle, it's supposed to be driven by an ideology. So what is an ideology? What is the particular ideology that each political party brings to the fore every time there is an election? Nothing like that. They keep telling you it's the time for the North. Now it's time for the South. Then when it's time for the North, they tell you, oh, the only person in the North that can win the election is this man or that man. And when you ask them why, they said, well, because he has tried it the first time, didn't get it. Tried the second time, tried the third time, fourth time. Oh, come on, he's got to get it. And the other time they will say, oh, no, now it's time for the South. And then when you say, okay, if it's the South, who is coming out of the South? They say, well, it has to be this one. Why? Because he was once a governor. Because this one is once a this. So nobody talks about what is the project that has to be done. Nigeria has to be taken as a project. What is the Nigerian project? What is the Nigerian dream? What does this nation called Nigeria wants to collectively achieve in 100 years? How can we break it down to 50 years? How can we break it down to 10 years? And what can be measurably achieved within each tenure of a president? We do not. So that's what you mean when you talk of an ideology. So there is no ideology. We are looking for a time where the government will have what we call a social contract with Nigerians. I am a socialist democrat, not a capitalist democrat. So you see all these people in office, they believe in capitalism. They believe in profit. They believe in money making and money. They are not about people. But when you talk about socialist democracy, get to the root of the word. Social means society. So when I say I'm a civil society activist, it means a society. What is the problem with the society? They need food, they need shelter, they need clothing. You know, how do we get them safe? How do we bring down the prices of food? How do we make sure that shelter is affordable and is available? What? So until you have a government that goes into a social contract with the people to say this is what we will achieve, and you can hold them accountable based on those measurable statistics that has been laid down. Not when someone says it is my turn because I have been fighting, I've been here for long, and then when they can't get it in one party, they dump the APC today, they go to the other party. And political parties have become trends. If this one doesn't favor you, this one goes. So
I think, comrade, this also brings about the tsunami that just hit PDP presently, having over 5,000 of its members defecting to the ADC.
Just 5,000. I think there should be 20 million people defecting. This is it's a normal thing in the system that we have when they are struggling for power. You need to know what these guys are looking for. They are not thinking about how to make life better for you. These are not socialist Democrats. What they want to rule you, they want to govern you so that they can control the resources, put it into their bank accounts, and buy bigger cars that are bulletproofs. All tinted so you don't have access to them, so they can live in bigger houses with bulletproof windows, bulletproof doors, so you have no access to them the moment they come into power. Nigerians, it is time we open our eyes. It's time we stop all this naivety and this self-imposed foolishness when we look into the faces of these politicians. Who do you think you are looking in? Whose face do you think you are looking into? These people are not here to help you. So until there is that conscious awareness of the Nigerian people, when it gets to the point where Nigerians says, hey, we have had enough, we can't take it anymore. When they get to that point, they will begin to speak out. When they begin to speak out, the government will become afraid of them. On the day that the government becomes afraid of the people, there will be good governance.
All right, comrade, thank you so much. I think we have comments now coming in. And one of the comment reads here, it says, in Nigeria, the law is made for the poor, the rich. The government officials are above the law, as we are all seeing today. And the person ends it with, we need revolution. And also I have this coming in for Nnamdi Ehetu. He says, truth be told, the Senate under Akpabio is the worst Senate ever in the history of this country. Akpabio should stop behaving like a child. This act of bully by Akpabio is a testament that he is guilty of the sexual assault and allegation levied against him by Natasha. It also goes ahead to show that he is a bully. This is coming from Nnamdi Ehetu there in Nigeria. And also, comrade, I just want us to dive into other issues very quickly for the want of time. Now we're having this report that Tinubu leaves Nigeria's embassy without ambassadors 22 months after recalling all of those envoys. We are practicing representative government, and the picture we show abroad or in other climes is what they see us as. So what does it say of a nation, especially with this kind of issue? Okay.
Please permit me to laugh it out first. You're talking about a country that doesn't yet understand itself. A country that has not been able to build a national ideology. a country whose national orientation agency has become a content creator. So the National Orientation Agency of Nigeria is a content creator for NTA, Arise TV, and CNN. And you're now talking about ambassadors. Nigerians are not respected anywhere. Just recently, I did a protest, in front of the Ethiopian embassy in Nigeria, where I went there alone on a one-man protest. That's why I say you people should wake up. I went alone with There was my very good co-comrade was with me, Flag Boy. We went there, and after we protested against the way Nigerians were being treated in Ethiopia, it awoken, the enthusiasm in Nigerian youths. And a few days later, some group of Nigerian youths, headed by the Nigerian Youth, National Youth Council of Nigeria, national president, they all went there, did a protest right there, and pronto, the Nigerians that were held in Ethiopia, were released.
In a one-man protest, single-handedly.
Yes.
Wow.
Next thing we heard was the guy was back in Nigeria, and even the ambassador called for, a tete-a-tete, a talk. And I was invited, normally some Nigerians will say, I am before, and His Excellency, an Ethiopian. I looked the man straight in the face and I told him, don't try that again on Nigerians. Respect us. Don't do this to Nigerians, And the next time we hear that you're treating Nigerians like this, when we come in here, we'll be demanding that you, the ambassador here in our country, be sent out of this country. That is called citizens' action. Do you understand? But when we are afraid to do this, we are afraid to go to prison. Even these utterances I'm making now is provoking some people. There are some people who are going to be so angry with every single word that I'm saying right now. So we have criminalized everything. We have criminalized the speaking of truth. And we need Nigerians who are no longer afraid to speak truth. Last year, for instance, I was picked up from the airport in Asaba on the 27th of February, 2024. Right from the airport in Asaba. I was picked up on the airport, and in the pretense that the state government, wanted to have a discussion with me, and I was sent to jail. And I didn't regain my freedom until about 32 days. No court case. They didn't take me to court. No charges, nothing. They took away 32 days of my life just because I am speaking. This is the year. I'm surprised. Look at, we're already in July and I have not been arrested this year. This is my best year ever, So until Nigerians are bold enough to say, I will have my say, the government already have their way. You need to have your say. You need to be bold and brave enough to come out and confront the people in their faces. Remember when they first talked about Nigerian policemen after retirement not being well paid? I and a few young men, there's this guy called Flag Boy and a few young men. We weren't even up to between 3 and 5 protesters on that day. We went straight to the office of the head office of the Nigerian police, the head office. And we began to protest and question. They refused to let me in. I tried to fight my way through. They say no. They say you didn't bring a letter. I said I don't have to bring a letter. This place should be so open that everyone who is provoked should be able to walk straight to the IG and say, hey, IG, I have something to tell you. But the moment I have no access to the IG, then how is he an inspector general of police? What are you inspecting if we don't have access to you? And see what happened. Weeks later, can you see Nigerians already? It has become a topic. Everyone wants to fight for it.
Indeed, I think on that note, we had to look at this. Islamic group Murik lambast Tinubu's government, says police pension is a national disgrace, and they are commending the likes of Showore and other activists like you.
Yeah, I just told you can go back and check the footages. You know, before Showore and the rest went there, I went on a one-man protest. The footages is still there on my TikTok channel. I've had over 40,000 views. A one-man protest. I said I wanted to go in personally to see the IG so I can point my accusing finger. You see this finger I've been pointing on the hands of politicians and the military people. This finger have sent me to jail. So I told them to give me the opportunity to see the IG, and all I want to do is to point my accusing finger on his face and tell him, stop doing this thing you are doing.
All right, comrade. Let us look at the issue we have on ground now. A whole lot of loans have been applied, especially by this present administration. And the recent one is that have been approved, especially by the House of, sorry, I beg your pardon, I think the Senate,
the
National Assembly, a whopping sum of $21 billion, not naira. These are loans that even these so-called leaders that we presently have, or rulers in your perspective, will not pay before they leave office. So this loan is being or is said to would be hanging in the heads of every Nigerian. So let me get your take on this.
You see, once again, I laughed because old men are taking loans that will be paid by the next generation. So don't blame this old man. I presume you're a Christian. And then the Bible says that in the last days, the old men will dream dreams and the young men will see visions. Right? It's in the Bible, right?
In the book of Joel.
In the book of what?
Joel.
You see, you're so smart. You even know where it is, you know. Now, you can see today the young men are seeing vision. They are watching television. They are watching Liverpool. You know, they are doing TikTok. They are on social media. The young men are seeing visions. No, look at all the young men. They are visionary. But look at the old men. They are dreaming dreams. We can see their dreams in Maitama. We can see their dreams in Gusape. Go to the airport and you can see their dream aircraft and everything. So they are fulfilling the scriptures. The old men are dreaming dreams. And you, the young men, are seeing visions. So that is why these old men are taking loans, you know, to fulfill their dreams, so that you young men who are seeing vision, maybe by the time you become old, maybe those visions would have turned into dreams. So I'm just playing with the whole thing. Now, it's not going to end. You know, remember some time ago we were celebrating that the president have cleared up all the loans, you know, and Nigeria is not owing any money. And everyone is, hey, that's good. And all of a sudden they say, well, that's good. We cleared up the loans, so let's take some fresh ones. Well, this is the way the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately, it will continue to be like this until the government are afraid of the people. When the government know that there could be consequences to their decisions, they will sit up. If the president knows that, hey, if I say something like this, 10 million Nigerians will get upset, and they are not just going to get upset, they are going to rise up and come straight towards my direction, he wouldn't do it. But they know that you Nigerians, you can't do it. You have left it to the people called comrades. And you have forgotten that we all came into this planet to raid the planet for the good of humanity. Until we come to recognize that we all are comrades. Until we begin to recognize that they took away the last national anthem so that they can deprive us of our camaraderie. You know, I remember the utterances I made in Maitama, and in 2 weeks after that, they changed the national anthem. I announced to Nigerians as a comrade that it was the national anthem that has told us to arise and to obey. And that when compatriots come as patriots, arise to a call. So they said, we have seen what is giving them fuel. Okay, in 2 weeks, they changed my national anthem to the one that I sang when I was a child. They have brought it to a national anthem that was written by my colonial masters, national anthem that was written by the people who came here intentionally to colonize my country, steal my resources, and drag us into pre-human and prehistoric, existence. Those people, the anthem they chose for us is the one this government insisted we should sing, and took away the anthem that says, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call, obey." So it was a deliberate decision to silence the people so the people cannot stand up and arise for themselves.
All right, Comrade, thank you so much. You have been talking on a whole lot of issues, and in the front burner of so many things you've said is the discourse on the people, and so much trended within the last week, and especially from within the people, and that is the impasse between the Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo and the Labour Party 2023 presidential candidate. And now we are having this, that the Okpebholo's commissioner has failed to provide the exact location that Peter Obi visited in Edo State that caused the deaths of 3 persons. So what would you say of this attitude of blame game, this attitude of coming out either within the mainstream media, the social media, to bring out statements that would be allowed to be so incorrect so as to get public sentiment or to spark reaction from the people?
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. If only a foolish person can learn to be silent long enough, it could be mistaken to be a wise person. But you see the problem about stupid people? They want to talk. Every foolish man wants to convince you that he is not stupid, and the only way to convince you of his not being a fool is to speak. And the more they speak, the more they expose their inherent stupidity. Imagine a governor, coming out to threaten a former governor. You are just a present governor. The guy is done and dusted with his own governorship. And you're telling him, whenever you're going to come here without informing me, I can't guarantee your security or your safety. It tells you the mindset of the people we elevate to become governors. Is Okpebholo amongst the most intelligent people in Edo State? Is he amongst the most sincere people in Edo State? If you do an IQ test of all those qualified to be the governor of Edo State, will Okpebholo be among the top 10 or the top 100? Someone showed me his secondary school certificate and I laughed. And you see, it is the problem of representation.
Okay.
We are in a civil rule, not in a democracy. If the Edo people were given the free choice to choose who will represent them, I am telling you, the average Edo man is very intelligent. I know the Edo people. They are so smart, so intelligent. They will come up with the most brilliant Edo person to be a governor. But this is not a democracy. It's a civil rule.
All right. A whole lot, I must confess, to take in from the show, the non-streaming show this morning. However, time will not permit us to exhaust all that we have for you viewers. We want to expressly say a very big thank you to all of you that stay tuned to the show, and all of our callers that called in to make their contribution, and also those that followed us and sent in their comment via our various social media platform. And I must also say a very big thank you to you, Comrade Peter Piper, a human rights activist who have taken the lead on so many advocacy in Nigeria. We must say a very big thank you, and for giving me, even as a youth and a youth out there, a clear perspective on how things must be in the nation Nigeria. Also, to all of our viewers, I say thank you once more for staying tuned. You can get more of our programs via our various social media platform, and also by staying tuned to this station. So we'll come your way again with other interesting topics, same time, same station tomorrow. Do have yourself a great day ahead. I remain Godwin Ujiri, and bye for now.